Do you want to know how to get a man to chase you like a drug addict? To be so enchanted and obsessed with you that he's constantly calling, texting, and asking to take you out on dates? Well, the truth is, you can have that. You just have to know what actions influence a man to chase you like a drug addiction. That's where I come in, with a man's perspective on how you can inspire that addiction. I'm here to tell you the 7 steps that will force a man to chase you like a drug addict. Welcome to the Players Club. If you're here with me and participating in the live stream with me and everyone else, say here or present so that I know you're here present and paying very close attention to everything we are going to be discussing today. Okay? You amazing people. Welcome. That was the intro today. So today we're going to be discussing how to force a man to chase you like a drug addict. We got SH here. We got Bree here. Michelle in the chat. We, of course, in the YouTube chat, we got Missy America. I see Melina's back as well. I think Melina's been a staple these last couple of days. We got Chantel here. We got Enlightened Nay here. We got Cobra here. I don't know if you guys noticed, like as soon as there's like a countdown going on. I had to go and I had to grab this water bottle. So as soon as I came here, I try to be so professional. So as soon as I came here and sat down, I literally just sat down like 3 seconds to go, and I had like ran upstairs. So I was like kind of out of breath, and I just had to get through it. You know what I mean? I had to make it happen for you guys. I don't want to give you guys no excuse. I got to get right into the intro. So if you play that back, you'll realize I'm like kind of like out of breath, but I'm like fighting through it. Anyways, welcome all you beautiful people. So glad to have you here. Back with I think I mentioned Enlightened Nation, Chantel. We got Vicky here, Erica's here. Welcome all you beautiful people that came early, especially because you know we have people that come late. We got Patsy Pat as well. I see Sweet here. I'm pretty sure Brianna's here. Brianna was the first person to say here, and SH, and I think Sharice is here. Sharice, are you here? I don't know if Sharice was here yesterday. Sharice should be here today. She should be. Okay. Welcome all of you guys. So today we're going to be discussing how to force a man to chase you like a drug addict. Let's get right into it. You know, we're going to have a lot of chat as we have this conversation. Okay. So let's start number 1 with the first high. Okay. Now, I know all of these points are going to be related to drug addiction. I know that some of you will be asking the question, just to set this aside. Some of you will be asking the question, but hey, can I do this in a in a long distance relationship? Hey, what about if I'm in a long distance relationship? Can I do this in a long distance relationship? I'm in a long distance. Look, I'm going to be honest with you. When you're getting someone to be obsessed with you and want to chase after you, it's really all about the in-person interaction. I don't want to burst your bubble, but the in-person interaction is so important to everything you're trying to do here, because that's how you enchant people. It's not really going to happen over text, and it's not really going to happen over phone call. It's damn sure not going to happen over text, and it's not going to happen over Snapchat either. Okay. So let's get over that idea. Right. And if you're in a long distance relationship, you're going to have to figure out how to make it short distance. Okay. Because all of these ideas are going to have to do with being able to see someone in real life. Okay. So not to poo poo long distance relationships. I just have to be honest with you. So number 1, we're going to have the first high. So the first time you meet him, let's imagine this storyline. We're going to follow this storyline of you meeting a guy. And we're going to take you through all the steps that you're going to take in order to get him to chase you like a drug addict. So let's imagine you meet him, and let's say he just sees you at an event. Let's say it's a work event or something like that. He sees you at the event. He thinks you're cool. He asks you out on a dinner date. Cool. All good. Because we don't want to meet guys on dating apps. That's bad. So let's imagine you meet him at some sort of work collaborative event with other companies there. Cool. And he asks you out on this dinner date. Now, This is very important to set the precedent for the rest of the relationship. Okay. In this scenario, let's imagine, and he's setting up this dinner date, you want to make sure that the first high is the best high. And what I mean by that is you want to make sure that when he finally meets you in person, has the best experience with you that he possibly can have. Okay? Because that first experience is going to set the groundwork for everything you're going to be building off of. So let's imagine you go out on this first dinner date. You need to bring a particular mindset to that dinner date. You're going to bring some nice, fun, flirty energy, right? I didn't say you're going to agree with everything he says, right? You're going to bring fun, flirty energy, and you're also going to bring the mindset and the mind frame that you are most interested in him and getting to know him. And you're excited about that. Okay? Because what you're trying to do in this first meeting, is you're trying to enchant him. Remember yesterday I talked to you guys about casting a spell on a guy? Right? Remember yesterday how it was like, basically you guys are fighting to see who the first one is going to be to cast a spell on the other person. Yeah, kind of the same thing here, right? You're trying to cast a spell on this guy. And the way that you do that, the way that you cast a spell on this guy is by making sure that you bring that excitement and that energy to the date, that he then in turn mirrors that excitement and energy. And while he's mirroring that excitement and energy, now you can extract from him everything that you want in the relationship. Are you following me so far? I see you guys saying that it's glitching. It should be back now. I think my internet just did something weird. Okay. Right. So you're using that first high as a way to get and extract exactly what you want, which is information. That's what you want on these dates. But you're also doing the job of enchanting him so that he doesn't realize what's going on. Okay. I think it was Emma says in the YouTube chat, she says the first day is not an interview. It's a chance for you to enchant him and see if you even like him. Exactly. In the process of you enchanting him, you'll also be able to pull a lot out of him, which is good. It kind of serves multiple purposes, right? As you're enchanting him, he's not going to realize that he's spilling his guts. He's not going to realize how much he's telling you. He's not going to realize how much he's sharing with you, and the fact that you're stashing all of that information and knowing how you're going to utilize it in the future. Okay. You guys keep saying on TikTok that it's glitching. For whatever reason, I don't see them saying that on YouTube. That might be a TikTok thing. Because I don't see them saying that it's glitching on YouTube. YouTube seems to never have too much problems. Anyways, it should get better. Don't worry, as time goes on. Okay, so very important. That first high is the most important high, because you're setting the precedent. Remember, just like if you were taking a drug and that first hit doesn't feel good, you're probably not going to be interested in taking that drug for very much longer. Okay? A lot of the rest of what you're doing is going to be based off of that first interaction being very good. This is why I tell you guys, okay, on these dates, let's imagine you're on this date, right? You're bringing fun, flirty energy. That doesn't mean you're agreeing with everything that he says. Actually, I would advise you to not agree with everything that he says. Bring your own opinions and perspective to the table, okay? Maybe you want to challenge him a little bit. Be interesting and make it fun. You don't have to challenge him in a way that's mean or degrading or disrespectful, but you can bring fun, flirty energy can also be challenging. It doesn't mean you just got to sit there and be boring. Okay, you can bring energy and excitement to that first high. You want him to feel things. And I'm going to say this multiple times as we have this discussion. You want him to associate you with feelings and emotions, strong feelings and emotions. This is how you turn him into a drug addict. If he does not feel strong feelings and emotions when he thinks of you or when he's around you, this will not work how it's supposed to work. He's not going to be chasing you around at all whatsoever, because him feeling those strong feelings and emotions towards you and of the relationship, situationship, talking stage, whatever you want to call it, is what's going to make him come back to you over and over again and want more and more and more. Okay. Style and Beauty says, how do you challenge him? Examples. So I'll give you an example. Let's say he's telling you about a work situation. Let's say he says, oh, and my boss told me to get together this quarterly scheme because this is what we're doing next quarter, and he told me that if I do it this way, this will be the best thing for the most revenue. But my boss doesn't know what he's doing. He's barely in the office, and and Steve over here, he has no idea what he's doing. And then you can challenge him just by saying, are you sure you have any idea what you're doing? Are you any better than them? Right? But you don't have to say it in a way where it's like, are you stupid? Are you an idiot? Right? You can just, as he's telling you about himself, as he's sharing his stories, you can put in little things there that just spice it up a little bit. Don't be so worried about being agreeable and nice and friendly that everything he says, you just go, yep. Don't make him, when I say challenge him, just don't make him feel like he's talking to a blank wall. Okay? Make him feel like he's talking to a human being who has different perspectives than him, who, has different viewpoints than him. And there's a way to approach that can still be fun and flirty, where there's a back and forth. You're challenging someone the right way when you have what's called banter. Okay. I know for those of you in the UK, I don't know if you guys call it banter or maybe you guys say chat. I don't know how you guys say it, because when I be watching Love Island, sometimes they describe it a little bit different. But banter is, the idea is just the back and forth that goes on when two individuals are having a conversation that's fun and flirty and exciting, where you might challenge me on some things, you might tease me, make fun of me a little bit, right? And it's fun. It's not disrespectful. It's not rude, right? We're both having fun, but we both poke a little bit of fun at each other. And it's exciting. That's cool. It's enjoyable, right? That's part of the experience. You want him to feel things. Here's the mistake that a lot of you are making, especially on this first high. The mistake a lot of you are making is that you're so worried that, oh my God, I want him to like me so badly that I'm not going to disagree with anything that he says. I'm not going to challenge anything that he says. I'm not going to make fun of him or poke fun at anything that he says. I'm just going to be here. I'm going to speak when spoken to. I'm going to say yes and no. Yes, as many times I possibly can. I'm going to say no as little as I have to, hoping that as if I'm more agreeable, he'll like me more. When in reality, all he's going to feel is indifference towards you. And we'll get to indifference in a little bit, because indifference is a very big part of what you're not trying to do. You do not want him to feel indifference towards you when you guys are having conversation or when you guys are on these dates, especially in person. You do not want him to feel indifference. If he begins feeling indifference, he's not going to be chasing you. He's not going to be obsessed with you. You're not going to be his drug. I can guarantee you that. Okay, I don't want it to just be like I know everything and you guys don't know anything, but let me know in the live stream chat, have you ever been in a relationship or situationship where you literally felt like that person was a drug to you, right? Where in the process of you, whether it be a talking stage or a serious relationship, you just felt like every time you were with them, you felt like you were taking a hit of your favorite drug. Because you felt like every time you were with them, it was like being high. It was like just being out of your mind. Every time it just felt like an out of body experience. I've experienced that. And it's awesome. Goddess said, had me drunk in love. Spoiled Beauty says yes as well. Okay, I see Style and Beauty. We got Spoiled Beauty. We got Style and Beauty. Style and Beauty says yes as well. Chantel says yep. And if it's me says still experiencing it. Oh my goodness. Wow. Olivia Triano says yes. Sweet says yes. Okay. Jazz says I miss that feeling. Oh, trust me, you can still have that feeling. Now, the reason I ask you guys that question is because I want us all to be on the same page. Those of you that have felt that feeling, right? You know that feeling of feeling like you're with someone and they're like your drug, that feeling is definitely not indifference. Okay? You definitely wouldn't describe that emotion or the emotions that are running through you when you're with that person as indifference. Okay? Which is why I say you want him, when he gets the chance to see you and speak to you, you want him to feel very strong emotions. Because what's going to happen is, as time goes on, he's going to be associating you with those strong emotions. And that's what's going to make you memorable to him. Okay? You don't become memorable to a guy if he doesn't feel anything towards you. That's why I always tell you guys, if a guy starts describing you as chill, oh, I like you because you're so chill. Oh, I like her because she's so chill. You're just such a chill person to be around. It's just so chill when we hang out. Oh, you're not doing this right. You're not doing this right. Because nobody who is obsessed with someone, nobody who is drunk in love, like Goddess says, nobody who feels like you're their drug would describe the feeling they get when they hang out with you as chill. Okay? The people telling you that it's chill when you're around and they like you because of how chill you are really describing indifference. And they're describing the fact that they don't feel any particular way about you or towards you when you guys do spend time together. And so the indifference just makes them feel chill, which really means it makes them feel nothing. They're not happy. They're not sad. They're not anything. They're just indifferent to the experience. Okay? So it's very important that you are very strategic with that first high. If you're not strategic with that first high, that first hit that he gets of you, that first experience he gets of you, you're not going to be able to do the rest of the things that need to be done, because that first high is what's going to keep him wanting more and coming back, that you can then start manipulating the situation even more to your advantage. Okay. So as you're having him experience this first high, you want to make sure majority of all that he gets to know about you happens in person on this date, or on the, like, either on the first date or on the first couple of dates, right? Either way, it has to happen in person. Okay. It has to happen in person. You do not give him the opportunity to get to know you, anything about you, over text, not even over phone call. This is why I say this method really specifically applies to people who, even if you're not in a, don't live across the street from them, at least you get to see them in person at some point. For those of you who are in long distance relationships where you see them once every 6-7 months, I'm sorry, this doesn't apply to you, okay? But for the rest of you, right, you want to make sure none of the process of him getting to know you happens in person or over the phone, because you want to make sure that first high hits him hot and heavy. It's like a wash over him. You don't want to give him any low quality dosages of you that he can then come to the conclusion that, oh, she's cool, or oh, she's like the other girls I met, or oh, she's very similar to another girl I know. You don't want him to associate any of the feelings or thoughts or experiences he's had with other girls to you. You want to be a completely unique experience that he feels like he hasn't got to experience enough, which is why you give him that first high. But even leading up to that first high, and in between that, and even directly after that, you do not want to allow him to experience you in any capacity outside of that really high quality first high. Okay, so when I say first high, I just mean that first date, because that first date is going to be his real heavy dosage of one-on-one time with you, where he can actually get an understanding of your personality, what you're like, how you speak, how you talk, how you react, how you respond, your banter, how he feels about you, how you guys get along, all of that good stuff. You want that all to hit him like a wave right at the beginning. So remember what I talked about, right? Indifference is bad. Indifference is chill. Indifference is the horrible for you. You want to get him obsessed. You want to be like a drug that he'll be addicted to. So that first high, that first feeling, that first experience has to hit him like a wave. So he's got to get all of the feels, all of the experience, all of the understanding. Oh, now I see that we banter really good. Now I see that you're so much fun. Now I see you're so adventurous. Now I see you're so exciting and bubbly, and we laugh and we giggle and we make jokes. All of that has to be one experience with you. That way it's as impactful as it can possibly be. A lot of you are making the mistake of texting these guys even before the first date or leading up to the first date, or even before he's planned the first date with you, that he kind of feels like he's getting to know you. He kind of feels like he's understanding you. He kind of feels like he's getting a sense of your personality and how you guys get along. And so what happens is he becomes satisfied with those very low dosages, low quality versions of you. And he's not as inspired or motivated to be like, nah, I got to take her out on a date, or nah, I got to meet her in person, or nah, I want to make sure I get the chance to ask her out on a date so that we can go out and I can experience her, right? That's the mistake that a lot of you guys are making. That's why it's so important when you're leading up to that first high, you do not allow him the opportunity to get to know you at all aside from that first high. Okay? And even when you come out on that first high, that first date, you want to make sure you're in the right mind frame. So that means you're going to have to actively do things for yourself that put you in a good mood, that when you show up on that date, you're able to bring the right energy and project that outwardly, because he's going to absorb that energy that you're projecting outwardly. And then he's going to walk away from that first high, from that first date, feeling exactly what he absorbed from you. So if you're bubbly, if you're excited, if you're fun, if you're flirty, he's going to walk away from that date remembering you as fun, flirty, exciting, and bubbly and full of life. He's also going to feel in himself, you're going to bring out of him, because he's absorbing that from you, his fun, flirty, bubbly, exciting self. So he's going to associate the thoughts and the feelings of being fun, adventurous, being interested, being stimulated. He's going to associate all of those feelings and emotions towards you. So if you go on that first date and you're in a horrible mood, you probably want to cancel the date, because none of this is going to work properly. When you show up on that first date and the energy he's absorbing from you is, whoa, she's miserable. Whoa, she's got a tough life. Whoa, she's just got so much going on. Whoa, she doesn't even seem like she's emotionally ready to be in a relationship. All he's going to be able to think back to when he thinks about you and thinks of his first high with you, damn, that was a horrible high. I remember just being so discombobulated. I remember just feeling horrible the next day. I remember like the whole thing was a terrible experience. If you've ever taken a drug, hopefully you haven't, but if you've ever taken a drug, you know that first high is likely going to base a lot, right? Is going to determine a lot of whether or not you experience a second high. Because if your first high was horrible, right, you're going to have to be convinced that your second high is supposed to be better. But if your first high is amazing, nobody has to convince you to take a second one, because it's just that much easier after experiencing it and having all of those good memories and emotions after your first high, which is why you want to be very careful how you present yourself and the energy you bring to the date. If you're in a horrible mood, let's say you had a bad hair day, you had a bad everything day, you will probably want to cancel that date, because if you show up on that date and that first time, that first experience of you, and you're in a horrible mood and you're miserable, he's going to think to himself, I feel horrible and miserable when I'm around her. And he's definitely not going to want to be around you that much. Okay. It's also important that while you're on this first date, while you're having him experience this first high, you do not focus on talking or sharing too much about yourself. Now, obviously, there's a balance. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't say anything. That doesn't mean that anytime he asks you a question, you be so short and so dry with it that he's like, whoa, what's your problem? You upset or anything like that? No, that's not what that means. What that means is when you come to the date with this fun, flirty, bubbly energy and interested energy, you want to actually, this is, if you have to think of it like this, think of it like this. You want to, in your mind, you're playing a game that The more you get to know of him and about him, the more points you get in the piggy bank or whatever, however you want to think of it, right? So you want to be as interested in learning about him as you possibly can. And when I say interested, I literally mean like you ask him a question, then you ask him a follow-up question, the next question. And even while he's answering the questions, it's like everything he's saying, you're like hooked on the story. Everything he's saying, you're like, oh my God, you're telling me the best story ever. I can't believe your life is like, even if he's telling you the most mundane, boring stuff, just be like, wow, that's so exciting. I've never met someone like that. Or I've never met someone that does that. Or I didn't even know that's so cool that you do that. And that's so, and you just keep on feeding his ego and allowing him to feel like, wow, she's so interested in me. Wow, she cares about me so much. Wow, she thinks I'm so awesome and so amazing, right? Because what's going to happen, he's going to walk away from that date with those positive emotions that, oh my God, I feel so good when I'm with her. Oh my God, I have so much fun when I'm with her. Oh my God, I just share so much and I talk about so much and I feel so open. I feel like I can share anything with her. All of those emotions and thoughts will be rolling through his mind as his experience of the first high he's ever had with you. And so when he thinks back to you, he's going to be thinking, wow, that was such a good first high. I've got to get that again. So it's very important that when you show up on this date, you don't come to this date miserable, just ready to spill your guts about, oh, I had this horrible day and this happened to me and that happened to me and this happened and that happened. And then he kind of walks away from the date kind of like, she's kind of boring. She just sat there, talked about herself. She didn't really care anything about me. Wasn't really interesting, anything she was saying. She just kind of went on a rant and she took my money. Because I paid for the date and I didn't get anything from her. That was just a horrible experience. You don't want that. You want him to be focused on, I'm sharing, I'm talking, I'm having fun. This is interesting. I'm stimulated. We have banter. We're going back and forth. Everything is positive, strong, positive emotions, just strong emotions in general. You do not want him to have indifference towards you. Okay. So number one was that first high. Number two, we have sober again. Okay. So after you guys go on that first date, you want him to return back to normal. You want him to get sober again. That first high was amazing. That first experience with you was awesome. But now it's time to go back to reality, which is good. Okay, you want him, if you're going to get him to chase you like a drug addict, you want him to, at a certain point, return back to reality after this first high. You don't want him to be in a cycle of right after he gets to see you, right after he spends some time with you, that he then is able to continue seeing you. Okay, sorry, let me just make sure that the stream is good here. Are you guys good on YouTube? Is there any issues with the stream or no? Okay. You want him to go back to normal and actually have to experience what life is like without you again. Because that first high is great. That first high is awesome, right? But you don't want him to get used to you being around all of a sudden. You want him to actually have to go back to his life and think to himself, wow, that was such a great experience that I had with her. I felt so good. I had so much fun. It was so enjoyable, right? And you want him to get his wheels spinning that he wants to experience that high again. Okay? So it's very important after you go out on that first date, you let him go back to normal. That means you don't call him. You don't text him. Okay? You don't FaceTime him. And even if he does try to call you and text you and FaceTime you a bunch right after the date, you keep your distance. Now, obviously, have a balance. If he calls you and texts you 3, 4, 5 times in a row, answer one of them. Don't try and have a huge conversation with him, but answer it just so he doesn't think you've ghosted him, so he doesn't think you blocked him, so he doesn't think that you're uninterested in him, okay? You want to be balancing what's going on, because you don't want him to think that you're uninterested in the date or you used him. You want him to feel like you actually really enjoyed the date. You just also want him to feel like you have other things going on in your life. So even though you enjoy the date, it's not like you're going to be texting him and calling him and speaking to him 24/7, because your life is still going on, even though even though you had a great time with him. Okay? So it's very important that as you're allowing him to become sober again, you don't entertain any casual conversation or attempt for him to get to know you over the phone. Okay? I want you guys to be paying attention to this. You do not allow casual conversation, because what a lot of guys will do is they'll take you out for that first date, even if they have that good first high. They'll be so high on it and they'll want to be around you and speak to you so much, they'll begin texting you like a maniac. They'll start calling you like a maniac. They'll even maybe FaceTime you like a maniac for some of you, right? And the thing is, if you like the date, if you enjoy the date, so what do you do back? You're giving him back the same energy. But what you need to be doing is keeping your distance, that he can stay on the thought of that first high, that his mind can continue being on the fact that he wants to experience you more. And again, this is why a lot of you get caught in a situation where you may go on one date with the guy and then all of a sudden you get into this trap of just constantly texting and calling, but he never actually makes plans for the second date or the next couple of dates. Have you guys ever been in that situation before where you go on a single date with the guy, you have a good time and you think he had a good time as well. He texts you and he calls you, but then nothing really pans out after that. Somehow it kind of just fizzles out, right? The texting and the calling doesn't really ever turn into a second date. Have any of you ever experienced something like that before? Or am I just absolutely crazy? Okay, because Naomi says yes. Okay, Soph says yes. Jacqueline says yep. Okay, and the reason this happens, right? The reason this happens is because these guys, when you give them a lot of access to you and you're super available, especially after that first really good experience, they're obviously going to want to experience you more. They're obviously going to want to see you more. They're going to want to speak to you more. Guys also get caught into the cycle of being on the phone and feeling like they're experiencing you through the phone, that by texting you and even calling is good, but calling is a supplement for the real thing, which is in person, right? But texting especially, right? Even the guys get caught in that loop of, oh, I'm seeing her, I'm hearing from her if I'm texting her a bunch. So after that first high that they get, they're like, oh my God, I want more. So what am I going to do? I'm going to text her. And he texts you a lot and you text him a lot back. But what does that also do? That satisfies the feeling of him being like, oh, now I have to return back to normal. Now I have to be sober again. I have to experience what my life was like before her, without her. But now that you're back in texting form, in low quality form, he feels like he's getting just the smallest dosage of you again. The problem is, if he's getting just the smallest dosage of you, it's just enough to kill his desire to wanting to get another big high. You understand what I'm saying? Are you following along with the analogy here, right? Because you're giving him just enough that it feels like, I don't need the big high. I'm good for the next couple of days. I'm good until next week. And it just continues down that cycle where you're just giving him just the smallest dosage of you, just enough that he feels like he's getting to know you or experiencing you, that he's not quite motivated enough to say, hey, I want to take her out on a second date. Hey, I got to see her again. Hey, I got to spend time with her again. I got to be around her again, right? You want him to return to being sober again. that he can actually be able to contrast what it felt like to be in a relationship, not be in a relationship, to be on a date with you and experience you and be around you versus what his life is like when he's not with you and he's not around you and he's not on a date with you. You actually want him to be able to experience that contrast, that he can say to himself, oh, I actually want to be around her again. Oh, I actually want to spend time with her again. Oh, I actually need her around some more. I need my second high. Okay. So very important that you give him an opportunity to return to his life as it previously was without you, which means you can't be texting a whole bunch. You can't be calling him a whole bunch. And if he is calling and texting you a whole bunch, you keep your distance. Now, very important, right? As you're keeping your distance, you don't want to make the mistake of making it too much distance. You don't want him to be confused that you don't like him, or you're not interested in him, or you're ghosting him, or you just used him for a dinner date and you had no intention of building a relationship. In the process of you being distant, you make it difficult for him to contact you during this time. That way he can wonder about you, think about you, and you can begin growing that cycle of the obsession, right? Because he'll be going back and forth in his mind. But you also don't want it to be too much distance that you never text him, you never answer any of his calls, you never call him back, you never do anything back for him, or show interest, I should say, back to him, that he thinks you're actually uninterested in him. It's a balance, a very delicate balance. And as you practice this, you'll be able to feel the balance going on, okay? Allow him to double text you. That's fine, right? But that doesn't mean you never answer any of his texts when he double texts you and then he calls you 3 times and then he tries to FaceTime you, okay? It's a balance in between that, where he can feel like you still are interested in him, you still want to talk to him, you still want to maybe go out on a second date if he asks you out on a second date, but not so much that you're dying for it, not so much that he's the only thing that's going on in your life. I want to ask you guys, when for those of you who have been in a situation where you've been with someone that felt like a drug to you, okay, was part of the experience the fact that when you weren't together, right, or even at periods and times in your relationship or situationship, whatever it may be, that you question to yourself, does this person really like me, or is this person not very interested in me? Okay, was there ever was there ever a situation like that where you experienced that, where in the process of you guys being in this relationship, you were asking yourself the question, does this person really like me and is really interested in me, or are they not that interested in me and I'm just playing myself? Okay. Melina says it's glitchy for me. Let me know, guys, if it continues being glitchy. You should return after a while. Okay. I see Nifasimi says yes. Shan says yeah. Sheer says, I need better excuses to say to them why I can't hang out with them. I'll address that, okay? Brianna says yes. Judy says yes. Skylar says dealing with it right now. Shan says, yeah, absolutely. Andrea says, for sure, the lack of giving him full validation is what kept me attached. Of him giving you full validation. See, this is that. I like that Andrea said that, okay? Can someone pin that, please? Either SH or Charisse or Brianna. Please pin that. I actually like what Andrea said. Because that's the thing, is that after a guy takes you out on a date, if you do the job of enchanting him on that date, giving him that first eye, and it's a really great experience, what's going to happen after is when you become distant, he's going to start playing in his mind, like we just said, is she really interested in me? Does she not like me? Did I do something wrong on the date? Did I say something wrong on the date? Did she just use me to go out on the date and have fun? Was she really even having fun? Or what? Was I doing too much talking? And all of that process of him going back and forth in his mind of, does she like me or does she not? That starts the cycle of the addiction, right? Because now he's spending all his time going back and forth in his own mind about you, which is good. is what you want, right? That's how you inspire that chase and that drug addiction kind of feeling, because he starts saying to himself, he starts replaying every single detail in his mind about the date. Imagine that. You go out on one date with the guy, and now he's replaying in his mind, okay, but when we got the appetizer, and I made this joke, and she kind of made a face, but she made that face. I thought she thought it was funny, but okay, I think maybe she didn't think that joke was funny. Maybe she was offended? Oh, you're an idiot, bro. Why would you say that? Oh, you're so dumb. That was so stupid. And then I talked about my last relationship. Now she probably thinks I'm an idiot. And you see, like, they spiral. Just like this, they spiral. They're just going the same way you've probably experienced. They just begin spiraling, especially when they enjoyed that experience with you. There's nothing more painful as a human being than spending some time with another human being, liking the time you're spending with them, feeling good about the situation, right? Or the date or whatever it may be. And then walking away from it, realizing that person didn't even like you. And the whole time you're like, damn, I thought we were getting along so well. That confusion is very painful, right? And that realization that you like someone that actually didn't like anything about your vibe is very painful. And it can cause you to kind of spiral and just say to yourself, oh man, why did I do that? Why did I say that? How come I didn't realize how stupid I sounded? How come I didn't realize what I was actually saying? How come I didn't realize that they weren't even really interested in me? And that spiral begins. And that's what you want, right? In the process of you being just distant enough that he has to return to being sober again, he's going to start spiraling, thinking, damn, that was such a good first time, but I don't know, maybe she doesn't like me. I don't know, maybe she's not into me. I don't know, maybe I was just being too weird, or I was talking too much, or she's just probably just faking her interest in me, and she's probably just trying to be nice now, and she doesn't actually like me. And they just go, and they just go, and they just go, and they can't stop thinking about it. Right now, they're like in their daytime, they're just replaying every single instant of the date, right? And every single facial expression you made, every single nuance, the way you picked up your fork, everything about you, to try to analyze, is how I feel the correct way that she feels, or is everything I feel a lie, or am I confused? All of that good stuff, and that is good for you. Okay, so. Ziana says, I have a question. Ask your question as long as it relates to what we're discussing. So first high is very important. Okay. That's why it's number one. Number two is being sober again. You want him after that first high to return to sobriety, that he can then be inspired to want that first high again. So that's why it plays perfectly into number three, where we have missing the high. Okay. Style and Beauty says, do you make an excuse to cut that first date short? We'll get to that. I'm glad you brought up cutting the first date short. We will get to that. That is part of one of the things we will be discussing today. Okay. So number three, we have miss the high. Okay. So as he begins to think about you more and contrast how good he felt with his normal life, his boring life, his sober life, he will begin to chase the feeling he had with you and want to see you again so that he can get that feeling back. You have to make him work for that feeling. This is why I say it's so important that he doesn't feel indifference towards you. He feels very strong emotions towards you. If he feels indifference towards you, you're going to be in a very bad place. Because if he feels indifference towards you, right, he's just chill about everything, there's no emotions or feelings to chase after. Because you are an individual, you are a person, but you also have to understand you are also an experience. That's the same reason why multiple different people can describe you in multiple different ways. Because they're not just experiencing you as an individual, they're experiencing you as an experience in its entirety. So where someone meets you also factors into their experience of you. How someone meets you factors into their experience of you. The situations or things that happen or events that happen in the process of going out on a date with you or being around you factor into their experience of you. This is why someone could meet you in one setting and have one particular experience of you, and someone could meet you in a totally different setting and have a completely different experience and understanding of you. Okay, there's probably a guy out there that may have met you in a club maybe one night when you were super just out of it and dancing and doing crazy and acting crazy, and he might have a particular experience with you. And then there might also be another guy who met you at Home Depot and thinks you're the finest, best thing since sliced bread, and you're such an amazing stay-at-home wifey who takes care of your loved ones or your cat or your dog, whatever. Okay, right? Because you are an individual, but you are also an experience, and the things that are happening around someone, right, when in the process of experiencing you, will drastically change how they feel about you. Because when they think back to the thought of you, they're also going to be thinking back to the experiences they had when they were with you. Okay, which is why you have to be very calculated with the experience someone has on that first high with you, because you want them to miss the high, because you want them to miss the experience of being around you, not just you, the experience of being with you. Okay? Very important. And you want to make him work for that feeling, because now you're in a situation where he's had a good first high, where he's had a good first experience, and that was enjoyable for him. Now he knows what it feels like to be sober again, and he can contrast that with his real life, with his regular life. And now when he wants to get the second high, right, go on the second date, because he knows without the second date, he's not going to be able to experience you over text. He's not going to be able to call you a bunch simply because you're busy and you have lots of other things to do. He's going to realize, okay, if I want this second high, I'm actually going to have to put work towards it. This is where you guys need to actually really pay attention. Okay. I want you guys paying very close attention to this, because this is super important. You are going to be balancing the fact that he wants to go on another date with him. You don't want to make it so easy to go on a second date with you that he doesn't feel like it took any work. Okay? Now, I know this is confusing to a lot of you, because you're like, well, if he asked me out on a second date, why don't I just say yes if I'm free the next day? Why don't I just say yes if I'm free that same day? Why don't I just say, he's asking me out on a date. Isn't that the whole point of this? He's asking me out on a date. Yes, that's the point. No, that's not the way you want to go about it if you want him to experience you like a drug. You want to know why? Because missing the high is not enough. Okay? We're going to talk about anticipation right after this. They're all combined with each other, but it's very important that in the process of him missing the high, he feels like in order to get the next high, there actually has to be real effort put in, that anticipation can actually be built. Okay? So it's not just about missing the high, and in the same moment that he misses the high is the same moment that he gets the second high. He's got to miss the high, but also feel like, damn, as much as I missed the high, I still have to wait for my next high. So you don't want to allow him to just say, oh, you're free tomorrow? Okay, yeah, we'll do tomorrow, because you're free every day. So you never have a schedule. Okay? This is why I always tell you guys, it's very important to figure out what your passions and hobbies and things you enjoy doing are, that you'll actually have a schedule and things to do, where a guy can't just be like, are you free tomorrow? Are you free right now? Are you free in an hour? And you're actually just like, yeah, I'm actually just sitting on my couch doing nothing. So if you want to take me out on a date, that would literally be the best thing ever, because I literally have nothing better to do with my life. You actually want to have things going on in your life that when a guy is trying to plan a second date with you, you are genuinely not free to just hang out the next day. Okay? I would advise you, I know this is going to sound crazy. Okay? I know this is going to sound weird. I would advise you to not say yes to the first date that he asks you on. So for example, if he asks you on a second date, he's like, okay, are you free? Let's say today is Tuesday. And he's like, hey, I want to go on a second date. Are you free tomorrow on Wednesday at 6 p.m.? And I want you to actually say no to that. Okay. I want you to say no. I want you to say that you're busy, you're doing something. Even if you're not busy, I want you to say you're doing something. Okay. Then when he asks you, okay, when are you free? Or when can you go on a date? Or when can we go out together? I truthfully, this is going to sound really weird. I want you to push the next date or the next available day that you have. At the very least, let it be a week later. So if he asks you, today's Tuesday, do you want to go out on a date tomorrow? You say no to that. Then when he says, okay, when are you free next? When can we hang out? When can we go on this date? I really want to take you out on this date. You make it the next Tuesday at the very least. Doesn't have to be exactly like that, but make it the next week at the very least. Now you might be like, but he's gonna be uninterested in me. No, but he won't like me anymore. But he's gonna get bored in the time of the week and then this and then that. He won't care to go out on a date in a week. No. Hold your water. Take a chill pill. You're trying to inspire a drug addict. Okay. You want him to be anticipating. We'll get to anticipation in a bit. You want him to be anticipating when he's going to see you. You want him to spend actual time missing the high. You actually want him to feel agony that he doesn't get access to you. Because when he finally does get access to you, it's going to make even the smallest mundane things seem so much bigger. For those of you who have ever been in a long distance relationship or been in a relationship where you couldn't see that person all the time, it's exactly that same experience. You're not doing anything particularly special when you finally do see the person or hang out with the person, but each hangout or date or time spent together feels so much bigger because they come so much less frequently. Right? And so each time you see them, it holds way more importance. Now imagine if you did that in combination with them not getting access to you over the phone, where they can text you all the time and get validation, right? Because the guys get validation too. When they realize that you're starting to like them, that they're taking you out on these dates and you're into them and you're super eager to go out on the next date and like you want to spend all your days with them and 24 hours with them and you want to sleep over, that's validation for the guys as well. So if he's going in back and forth in his mind that, oh my God, I'm not sure if she likes me. Oh my God, I'm not sure if she's interested in me. Oh my God, she's so busy. She doesn't even have time for me. That's good. But if he gets to the point where he feels like he doesn't have to miss the high because, if I want to hang out with her, I could hang out with her any day. She's free every day. Any day that I want to spend with her, she'll be free. Anytime that I text her and say, I want to go out on the second date, perfectly fine. We could go out on the second date, the next day. It doesn't even matter what time, she'll be free anytime. Even if she's not free, she'll move her schedule for me, right? When he feels like that, that's also validation. And then what does he feel? He feels indifference towards you. Okay, because he doesn't have to think about anything. He doesn't have to plan anything because when he wants you or when he wants you to be available to him, you will be available to him. So he doesn't miss the high. Okay, there's no agony associated with you. Remember, I told you want him to associate with you strong emotions, not just positive emotions like joy and happiness. You want him to associate with you strong emotions in general because that's what's actually going to create that drug addiction. It's not just about the highs. It's also about the lows. I know this sounds super deep and super manipulative and super like psychology, tricks. But it's real, okay? It's not just about feeling good and happiness and excitement and joy and all the positive stuff. It's also about feeling agony and sadness and pain when he's not with you. That's also good, as shocking as that sounds, okay? M says, yeah, you become too predictable. I 100% agree, right? You don't want to become too predictable. That will make him feel indifference, okay? And indifference you don't want. Once he begins feeling indifference towards you, you're cooked, okay? You're cooked. Right? Now, so once he's asked you on multiple dates, you don't say yes to the first date. Okay. You don't make it that easy. And when he asks you when you're next free, you allow the next time you're free to at the very least be sometime next week. So in a week's time, that he actually has to sit back and anticipate you for 7 days. Okay. And so that's a perfect segue into our next one, which is anticipation. Okay, number 4 is anticipation, right? So as he begins to anticipate this next date, because remember, you just said no to the first date. And when he said, when are you free to reschedule? You said, okay, next Tuesday. So as he begins to anticipate the next week that he's going to see you, In this time period, this is very important. Make sure you're listening. In this time period, guys are going to attempt to receive some validation. Okay? Pay very close attention. This is very important. As this is happening, guys will usually try to reach out to you. So let's say you've planned this date and now it's set for next Tuesday. What guys are going to try to do is they're going to try to reach out to you and get to know you and have conversation with you leading up to this second date. You want to know why? Because they want the validation that you're ongoing, continuously interested in them enough that you're actually excited to go out on this second date. Okay? Now, very important. Tell me first, are you guys following along? Are you guys paying attention? Are you guys here with me? You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm saying? Are you confused at all? Okay. Very important that as you're building this anticipation, you make sure that you do not respond to his attempts to get to know you over the phone. Okay? Very, very important. Do not validate him leading up to this second high, to this second date, because he'll be seeking that validation from you to ease his own anxiety that, oh my God, like she's so busy. She said no to the first me asking her to go on the second date the first time, and now it's going to be a week until I see her. Oh my God, she's so busy. What is she doing? Is she working a whole bunch? Is she like hanging out with friends? She must have so much friends. She must have so much to do. Are other guys taking her out on dates? Is that why she doesn't have any time for me? Are other guys doing stuff with her? Like, what's going on? Why do I have to wait a week until the next time that I see her? All of this is building that anticipation, right? And also building that anxiety. And so he's going to attempt to get rid of his and ease his anxiety by getting validation from you in that way, to know that, oh, you're ready to go out on the date. Yeah, you want to talk to him. Yeah, you want to see him. Yeah, you want to this and that. And so he's going to try to hold conversation leading up to that second high, leading up to that second date. It's very important that you give him no validation. Okay. Now, as you give him no validation, you're busy, you're doing things. You can't be sitting around on the phone answering a whole bunch of calls and text and being on FaceTime till 4 a.m. You got other stuff to do, right? His anxiety is going to be building. Also, his anticipation is going to be building for the next time he sees you. You still want to balance that out with the times that you do speak to him, right? Because you're not going to never speak to him that he thinks you're uninterested. The times that you do speak to him, you want to make sure you sprinkle in, I'm so excited for this next date. I'm so excited to see you in person. Okay? I only want you, this is very important, okay? Listen to this very closely. I only want you to express your excitement with seeing him in person. Listen to what I just said. I only want you to express your excitement with seeing him in person, because as a man, he will begin to associate the times when you're the happiest is when you're spending time with him in person. And so as he begins the process of seeking and chasing after your approval, because he wants you and because he likes you, he's going to begin saying to himself, if I want her to be happiest with me, I need to see her in person more, not text her more, not call her more, not FaceTime her more. I need to see her in person more, because she's expressing to me that she's most excited when we go out on these dates, that she's most excited when we spend time together one-on-one in person. And remember, you've put him in an anxious state of mind where he's thinking to himself, what does she want? What does she need? Does she like me? Is she interested in me? Is she happy with me? Is she unhappy with me? Am I doing the right thing? Am I saying the right thing? That anxious state of mind is what's going to push him to be like, as soon as you give him the smallest hint that there's something you enjoy, that there's something you like, he's going to be like, oh, I got to do 100 of that. Because I've been wondering this whole time if she likes me, if she's interested in me. Now I know she loves it when we spend time together in person. That's exactly what I got to be doing the most. And you might be like, is this really happening? Trust me, it's really happening on a subconscious level that even the guys can't realize, right? Because he's going to be trying to ease his own anxiety. As he's trying to ease his own anxiety and confirm to himself that you like him, that you find him interesting, that you like the experience of being around him, the moment you say, I do like the experience of spending time with you and seeing you and talking to you, but I enjoy it the most when we're in person, everything he's focused on is going to be in person now. And what's going to happen is he's going to shift from thinking, oh, does she like me? Does she not? Maybe she's not texting me because she doesn't like me. He's going to think, oh, no, she just doesn't text me because she'd rather us spend time together in person and she's busy. She's doing other stuff, but she actually still enjoys her time with me. And I know I enjoy my time with her. So I know I want to see her in person more. That's the mistake that a lot of you guys are making. Like I said, you're not building a lot of anticipation. Why? Because you're constantly available on this phone to text all the time. Texting is the worst crutch, right? That all of you are utilizing to actually self-sabotage your ability to get dates out of these guys. Because as you text and you text and you text and you text and you text, you're literally simultaneously decreasing his desire to actually take you out on a date and see you in person. Because the guys also feel like as they're texting you so much, that they're getting to know you, that they're experiencing you, that they're seeing you, that they're meeting you. I know it sounds silly. They feel like they're going out on dates with you as they're texting you 24/7, even the guys, right? But what does that do? If he feels like he's going out on a date with you 24/7, why would he actually want to go out on a real date with you in real life? That's why it becomes a self-sabotaging addiction. And this is the bad type, where both of you are in the process of texting and doing these kind of like text dates where it's like kind of like an ongoing text date all the time. Then there's no anticipation left to be built for the real in-person date. Okay? That's why it's very important. Sorry for the motorcycles outside my house. That's why it's very important to be distant in the process of him having that anticipation and feeling that anxiety that he wants to be like, oh, let's talk, let's have fun. Oh my God, the second date's going to be so far away. I don't want to wait so long. I want to feel validated in the process before we get on the second date. You don't give him that validation. The only thing you do that gives him validation is tell him how excited you are once or twice, how excited you are for this next in-person date. That's it. Not how excited you are for him to keep on texting you. Not how excited you are for him to call you every day or him to stay on FaceTime with you till 4 a.m. Because you're not trying to build a relationship where he texts you all the time. You're not trying to build a relationship where he calls you 24/7. And you're not trying to build a relationship where he FaceTimes you till 4 a.m. Okay? This is why you have to be very strategic with the way you reward guys and the way you validate them. Do not validate them for doing the things that you don't want to experience over and over again. So if you don't want him to just be content with FaceTiming you and that's your version of happiness, do not congratulate him or make him feel excitement for how happy you are that he'll FaceTime you. If you don't want him to be the best, try to be the best texter and only focus on trying to make you happy over text, don't say how excited you are to text him all the time. Focus your time and energy on the in-person hangouts or the dates and express your excitement for those so that can be his focus. That can be where he spends his time thinking about how to make you happy by taking you out on the next date or taking you out to this interesting place or connecting with you in this way. Okay? Very important that you're building that anticipation in the right way. You want to balance your texting and calling distance with the validation that you also enjoyed seeing him and going out on your last date. This ensures that this ensures that he doesn't feel as if you're uninterested with him. Okay? Because remember, you want him to be spiraling but you also don't want to go too far into the deep end that he gives up and says, this isn't worth chasing. There's no point here. She doesn't even like me. She's not even interested in me. That's why it's good to sprinkle this in as a reminder of how and much you enjoy spending time with him, that he will be motivated to spend more in person time with you. Do not congratulate a textaholic. Do not congratulate or validate the best FaceTimer. Do not even congratulate the best phone caller. You only congratulate the person who puts in the most effort into the in-person dates. Don't be validating him for anything else, because in reality, you're not trying to build a relationship over text or over calls or over FaceTimes. That's not what you, if you want to be married to someone who FaceTimes you all the time, well, then do that. But if you're trying to be married to someone who you have a great in-person relationship with, then you have to be focused on validating the in-person and putting emphasis on the in-person. And you have to actively at the same time be putting as little emphasis on the texting and the calling and FaceTiming as possible, because you're not trying to be in a relationship with the best texter, caller, or FaceTimer. Okay. So are you guys following me so far? Does that make sense to you guys so far? I hope you guys aren't confused. I'm really passionate about that, and that grinds my gears, because I know some of you fall into that trap, that texting trap, where you love the texting, he loves the texting too, and you guys both feel like you're going on a 24-hour date of just texting and texting and texting and texting and texting. Okay? Right? You don't want to get into that habit where you're going on a 24-hour date with the guy, because we'll get to tolerance in a bit. We're going to get to tolerance next, but you don't want to get into that habit of this 24-hour text date where you guys are asking each other questions like you would on a date and trying to get to know each other like you would on an in-person date over text. And this is happening all throughout the day, and it kills that anticipation that he would feel for trying to actually see you in real life and go out on a real date with you. Okay? Okay, very important. Kimberly says, so how do we do that as it relates to the anticipation? I just explained it to you guys. You do not text and you do not call, okay? And when he does call and text you, you make it very short and to the point. You do not spend a whole bunch of time trying to get to know him over text, right? And the only times you should be responding, the most you should really be saying, aside from planning and scheduling the next time you're going to hang out, maybe you just to make sure that person's still alive. Aside from that, you're really just going to express your excitement for when you're going to see him in person. Okay? That's all you really ever need to be using text for. You don't want to supplement it as a way, okay, well, we're waiting for a week to go out on this next date, so we're going to chat about random stuff in the meantime. No. Don't do that. No. Bad girl. Don't do that. Get off the phone. Trust me too. This is the thing. If he's already set the second date up with you, I don't even want to say at a disadvantage. He's the one with all the anxiety. Because if he set the second date up with you, now he's committed to this. Now he's like, okay, I want to be with you. I want to be I want to go out on the second date. I want to experience you. He's going to start becoming anxious if you say yes to the second date and like days are going by and you're not really texting or calling or speaking to him that much. This is why I say he's going to attempt to seek some validation in that time, because when he feels distance after you just committed to the second date, he's going to be like, did she forget that she committed to the second date? Did she not remember what we had planned? Is she not excited for it? Is she not interested in it? Right? And the thing about it is, as that anxiety is building, that's good for you, because what's happening, that's more thought power going into you, right? That is feeding that addiction, that is feeding that obsession. Okay. And as he feels your excitement for the day, because remember, I still want you to express your excitement for the second high. Okay. As he feels your excitement, right, he will begin to mirror that excitement to you. Okay, that, oh yeah, I'm super excited for the next date too. And he's actually, after a while, he's gonna really genuinely feel excited for the next date. Cause he'll be like, oh my God, I haven't seen her in a week, or I haven't seen her in a week and a half or 2 weeks since I last seen her. I had such a great time with her the last time. I know I'm gonna have such a great time with her this time. I got this plan. We're gonna have so much fun. We're gonna go here. We're gonna go do, and what's happening? Right? That anticipation's building and building and building. And so it doesn't even matter if you guys don't do something that's that amazing or crazy or awesome. All that matters is he's built up so much anticipation for finally seeing you. When he gets that second high, when he goes on that second date, anything you guys do, anytime you spend together feels that much more bigger and awesome and amazing, which is good for you because it fuels that addiction even more. It fuels that chase like a drug addict even more because now he had that great first high. He was missing that feeling. He had to go back to his normal life. And now he's been anticipating the second high for so long, and boom, you go on the second date and it's even better because not only have you already experienced them and know how good it is, you've been anticipating going out on this date for so long. And so it's even better. The same way you would if you were to eat a meal regular, just like right when you wake up in the morning versus going to work, working out, doing a whole bunch of stuff, sweating all day, running around, doing errands. And then you finally eat your first meal at like 9 o'clock at night. And it's the same meal that you regularly eat. But now all of a sudden it tastes so much better because you've been doing all this other stuff and you've been anticipating the fact that after you work out so hard and you do this crazy workout and you go to work and you do all this crazy stuff, you're finally going to come back and enjoy a huge, awesome meal. Is the same way something that seems regular, seems mundane, seems like the same thing you've been experiencing feels that much better when you are anticipating it for so long. You understand? Okay. So that's why anticipation is number 4. So number 1, we had the first high. Number 2, we have sober again. Number 3, we have miss the high. Number 4, we have anticipation. And number 5, we have tolerance. Okay. So after a while of seeing each other on multiple dates, he'll become used to being able to spend time with you. This is very important, okay? Throughout the process, you must, listen to me, you must cut dates and hangouts short to ensure he never leaves you satisfied or builds a tolerance towards you. I think it was, I forget who it was that said it earlier, that brought it up. I'm not sure who exactly it was that brought up. I know it was in the YouTube chat that brought up, should we cut these dates short? Okay. Yes. You want to cut these dates short and be very strategic with cutting these dates short, because you don't want him to quickly build up a tolerance of you that he no longer has to build anticipation or has anxiety when you're not around. Okay? When I say cut these dates short, what I mean, because I know you guys want me to tell you exactly how to do it. What I mean is, if you're going out on a date that is meant to last 2 hours, so you go out on a date and you're supposed to be out on this date from 10 to 12. I know it sounds difficult, but I want you to cut that date 30 minutes short. So your date's meant to last until 12. At 11:30, I want you to cut the date short, that you have to go home. And I want it to be non-negotiable, like you really have to go home. Why? Because I want him, right? You want him to leave that date with you. Leave that experience with you, because remember, you as an individual is also you as an experience. You want him to leave that experience wanting more. If you want to get him to chase you like a drug addict, if you want him to just feel indifferent towards you and be chill about you, that's fine. If you want to get him to chase you like a drug addict, you want him to feel like he didn't get enough of you after seeing you and he needs more of you. Okay? Very, very important. You do not allow his tolerance to build up by spending a whole bunch of low quality time with him. Okay? Very, very important. Because if his tolerance builds up, he's going to go from feeling really strongly about you and feeling a whole bunch of emotions towards you to feeling very indifferent about you and feeling very chill. She's chill. Everything is chill. I just like that we can just chill. Right? Once that indifference settles in, you no longer can have obsession. You can't have obsession where indifference is, and you can't have indifference where obsession is. Okay? He's got to feel strong emotions. This is why, okay, this is a very important side note. You make yourself, M said it perfectly just now. She said you have to find the balance because it is a balance, okay? Like I said, you don't want to go too extreme in any one direction because any one direction of too extreme is going to be is not going to get you the desired result. You want to make yourself just available that when he plans and waits long enough, he will see you and have a great time with you, but you never, listen to me, you never overstay your welcome. Never. Okay? Never overstay your welcome. This is like a tip for life, but like don't do it with your relationships especially. Because as soon as you begin overstaying your welcome, that person will grow a tolerance for you and they'll become bored with you. Okay? They'll become very bored with you because you're just there. You're just existing. You're just around all the time. So you stop going from an experience that feels really good to see and hear and be around and touch and smell. And it's like all of these emotions that come around when you're around, and you start just being an everyday, mundane part of life. And especially at the beginning when you really want him to be in the chasing addictive state, you do not want him to be thinking of you as a mundane, chill experience where he doesn't really feel anything towards the experience of being with you. Okay? You have to have that balance between being available, right? And just enough that he doesn't think you're uninterested, but you also don't want to be so available that you spend all your time with him and that he starts becoming, oh, well, you're just around. Oh, well, you're just a girl that just, you're there. I don't really think too much about when you're not there because you're always there. So it's whatever, right? You don't want him in that place. Now, I have to be honest with you about something because I know a lot of you fall into this trap. Okay. I would advise you. You guys always be like, I want your advice. I want to know what you think. I would advise you. I know this is going to suck. Okay. I know it's going to suck. I would honestly advise you to avoid sleepovers. Okay. Avoid those sleepovers. Why? Because sleepovers at the very beginning, first of all, you're putting yourself in a bad position because you're going to be tempted to give away your Squirtle when you're sleeping in bed with a guy that you like. Okay. That's already a bad position for you to be with because he's not going to be addicted to you if you give him Squirtle on the first date. Okay. We should know that already. Now, aside from that, what the sleepover also does at the very beginning is it goes from, I have to plan a date with you. See, I spend all this time anticipating you. I have to wait a week to finally see you, clear my schedule to finally see you. I finally get to see you. Oh my God, when I do see you, you're all done up. You look so beautiful. You're so mesmerizing. You're so amazing. I just want to take you in and breathe you in. The experience with you was so much fun. We're so much banter. We have such a good time. And then you go home and it's like, oh my God, you're gone. And all I can think about is the memories of having such a fun, amazing time with you. Here's what happens though. Some of you go out on this date and you enjoy your time with the guy, and then you go back to his place. And even if you don't sleep together, you end up sleeping over, right? Just out of convenience or for whatever reason, maybe you just want to extend the date. But what happens is the first 2 hours of the date is really good, really enjoyable. You have a great time. And then you go to his house, maybe you have some more chatting to do, have some more fun and all that good stuff. But then eventually it dies down. Because it can't be fun and exciting for 24 hours, okay? That's just not how it works. And so eventually you go from this experience that's so fun and exciting and awesome at the very beginning that he wants to see more and get to know more and want to chase more like a drug. And you become just kind of something that's just there because he goes to sleep with you and then he wakes up with you and you're still there. But, you know, in the morning, you guys are on a date and it's not really that exciting and it's not really that fun. And, you know, you're kind of just living life. He kind of gets up and you're there. He kind of goes to take a pee. He comes back and you're still there. It's kind of like, oh, well, I mean, what do you want to do? You want to get breakfast? Yeah, sure, we'll get breakfast. And you kind of eat breakfast and you kind of just sit around. Maybe you talk about last night and you're kind of just still there. And maybe you have no work the next day, so you don't really go anywhere. And you guys kind of just hang out for the rest of the day and you're kind of just there. You kind of just watch some stuff and you're kind of just existing, right? And all of a sudden, you go from an experience that he associates with all of these strong emotions to now you're just there. You know, I was really happy when we went on the date, but then by the time you leave, all he can think to himself is, I just spent the whole day with her and yeah, it was cool. She's cool. Yeah. She's fine. She's cool. It's whatever, right? And you become less of an addiction at the end. And I say this not to like be like, oh God, guys, don't do anything fun. Don't have any type of fun. I just want you to understand, especially at the beginning, why some of these things happen, right? Why some of these guys might lose interest, why some of these guys might chase after you, then all of a sudden they stop chasing after you. You have to, excuse me, right? In the process of him being so interested in you, you have to manage the fact that I know you're interested in him. I know you like him. I know you want to be with him as well, but you have to manage the dosage that he receives of you. And when he receives that dosage, that he can continue being interested in you enough to continue chasing after you. Okay. You can't give him such a high dosage so frequently that he builds up that tolerance and he no longer is interested in the drug that is you. You have to be strategic about how you give that dosage out. And when you give that dosage out, that he to come back for more. Are you guys following me so far? Are you guys following what I'm saying? You don't want that tolerance to get up so high that he's like, it's whatever. I don't really care if I'm with her. I don't really care. She's just there. She'll be available if I want to talk to her. And when I don't want to talk to her, I won't talk to her. Right? And then they just get into the mind frame that you're not an experience that he has to anticipate, be excited for, he has to schedule for, he has to plan for. He just says, yeah, you know, I mean, I'll text her, you know, throughout the day, kind of while I'm like half working, half sleeping, half watching Netflix. And then, you know, when I see her, you know, I'll just see her whenever and we'll just kind of hang out and do whatever, watch movies and whatever, right? And you just become a whatever type of experience, okay? You don't want to be a whatever type of experience. Now, so number one, we had the first high. Number two, we had sober again. Number three, we had missed the high. Number four was anticipation. Number five was tolerance. Number six is addiction. Okay? So, okay, we're going to discuss. As you continue this cycle, you become a full-blown addiction for him. Okay? If you're doing this right. Now, more of you never feels like enough. If you're doing this the right way, you're giving him the right dosage at the right time. He'll begin to push for more things all the time. So he's going to start asking you, can we hang out more? Can we spend more time together? Can you sleep over? Can you do this? I want to do this. Let's go here. Let's go there. Let's hang out more. I want to spend more hours, more days, more weeks, more months, more years. Okay? If you have not slept with him, hopefully you haven't slept with him at this point because that was never part of the plan. Okay? When you're giving him dosages, that doesn't mean you're giving him Squirtle, right? He'll begin questioning your interest in him after a while of this going on, where he's anticipating you. He goes on the next experience with you. He's got another high with you. It's so amazing. He goes back and he's like, damn, I need the next one. I need the next one. And the cycle just continues. If you're not sleeping with him throughout this process, now he's going to start questioning again, spiraling. she's going out on these dates with me, but she doesn't want to sleep together. She not into me? Am I disgusting to her? Is there something about me that's just off-putting? Is she turned off? Does she have something else going on with another guy? Is she emotionally unavailable? And he's going to start spiraling again. Okay? That this addiction is just going to be full blown, because now he's going to be in a vicious cycle of seeing you, loving his experience with you and it being so amazing. And then the anxiety of not being with you, the anxiousness of not being with you, and then that anticipation to see you and experience you again, where he gets that dosage and he's like, oh my God, I'm in euphoria once again. And it is a vicious cycle that works out in your favor. Now, as you don't sleep with him longer and longer and longer, this addiction grows more and more and more, and he becomes a fiend. Okay. Right? Now, in this process, you do your best not to validate him by sleeping with him, okay? Because that sleeping with him becomes the ultimate validation that, like, yes, I like you so much that I'll give myself to you. And once you give yourself to him, he goes, oh, now I don't have to spiral anymore. I know that she likes me. I know that she's interested in me. I know that she wants me. Now I'm bored. What's the next thing, right? Especially when you give that to him at the beginning. If you play your addiction cards right, he'll continue being addicted to you and being enchanted by you. In this process, remember, you're also doing your own things. What I mean by that is you're extracting information. Remember, we've talked about in the process of like dating these guys and seeing these guys, you're always trying to extract information that, is this the man I'm looking for that will treat me well in the relationship and has the qualities that I want in a husband and a potential father to my children? If it is, then I continue seeing that person. If it's not, I do not waste my time with you. So remember when I talked about asking questions, I talked about talking about exes, allowing him to show you who he really is over time and experiencing him in different situations, experiencing him when he's mad, he's sad, he's upset, he's happy, he's angry, all that good stuff. All of that is information you hear, see, feel, and observe of him that you take in to help you make a decision on whether or not this is the guy that you're going to spend the rest of your life with. So the process of you enchanting him, that he feels like you're his drug, is all for the purpose of having his attention over here, that he doesn't realize all the information you're actively extracting from him over here. It's the sleight of hand. Remember, I talked about casting a spell. You're enchanting him and you're playing a magic trick right in front of his hands, because it's not real magic in the three-dimensional sense, right? The magic is that I can take your attention over here and do something else over here that you don't realize. And then by the time I hide it over here, I come back after I put your attention over here and I say, look, there's nothing in my hand. It's magic, right? You're taking information from him. You're gathering a bunch of information. You're getting him to open up to you. You're getting an understanding of who he is. And unbeknownst to him, he doesn't realize it, but you're using that information to determine whether or not you're even going to give Squirtle away to him in this process. And once you determine that, once you're sure of that, then and only then is when you give that Squirtle away. Because you've extracted all the information that you needed to extract while you were enchanting him. And if you realize that this is not someone worth giving yourself away to, you don't give him anything for all the time he spent enchanted and invested in you. And then you get to walk away scot-free. You see how that works in your favor? I know for some of you guys, you're like, but I don't want to, why do I have to, I don't want to do all the work to make a guy chase. That's too much work. I don't want to, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. That's too much work. It's games, a lot of games. It's games. I don't like games while we all playing games. When you get a guy to chase you, like an addiction, you can get exactly what you want from him. That's why this show is called The Players Club, because you understand how to play the game of not just romance and love and relationships, but of life, that you can get what you want out of life. There are players and then there are people who get played. You can choose which one you are, but you will only be one of the two. If you are not doing the playing, you will be the one getting played. That's fine with me. That's fine with me. It doesn't affect my life in any way, shape, or form. If you want to be the one getting played, that's fine. Just don't complain about getting played. Okay? You can be the one doing the playing, and you can be the player. You can be part of the players club, and you'll have control of your destination. Okay? You'll have control over your life. You'll have control over your relationships. You can keep it hands off and leave everything to chance and say, we should live in a utopia world where everyone treats each other how they deserve to be treated, and all parties involved get the respect that they deserve, and everyone sees each other as an equal human being, and everyone does things out of the kindness of their heart, not to serve themselves, but to serve other people, and everyone's the most generous, kind individual on earth, and we all hold hands and sing Kumbaya, and everything is sunshines and rainbows. If that's the world you want to live in, cool. Go live in that world. You're wasting your time listening to me. I'm full of BS. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm an idiot. Okay? Don't listen to me. I have nothing to offer you. You go live in that utopia world. The rest of you who actually want to learn how to change your situation and get what you want out of life and get what you want specifically out of relationships will join me in the Players Club and understand how to play the game of life and love and relationships, where you can get what you want out of them, even if it's just a long-term relationship. Doesn't have to be something super malicious, okay? Right? Very, very important. Okay, so do you guys have any questions as it relates to what we talked about? Number 1 was the first high. Number 2 was sober again. Number 3 was miss the high. Number 4 was anticipation. Number 5 was tolerance. And number 6 was addiction. I always find it funny when people ask, can you go over all the points again? As if like when I just say the points, you're going to understand anything that we talked about, right? It doesn't really work like that. This version of content I can't give to you in 1 minute or 30 seconds. Even if I explained it to you, none of it would actually stick with you or make sense the way it does if you listen to the whole thing. Okay. You guys said my stream. I have a feeling my stream's been lagging all day, and I apologize for that. I'll definitely work on that tomorrow. I have no idea why the stream is going back and forth and lagging like that. That's really upsetting. You guys if you live in Canada, you guys gotta blame Rogers. I have Rogers internet now, so blame Rogers. If you don't live in Canada, you probably have no idea what Rogers is. But Rogers is like the Canadian version of like T-Mobile, but worse because my internet's horrible. Okay, I'm figure out how to fix that. Gigi says, is there a record? Yes. For those of you, if it was lagging for some of you, or if it was not working for some of you, or you missed part of it, you can always go to the YouTube and rewatch the entire thing, okay, on YouTube. And then I also post a actual like just recorded version on my camera without any of the chat or anything on my YouTube as well. Okay, so we're gonna hop into, I want to make sure I answer all you guys questions before we hop into the Discord and we answer some questions in the Discord. I've seen some of you guys talking about the Discord and the questions that you guys had there. I know you guys are eager to get your situations asked there. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, we use the Discord as a way to not just get answers from me in your situation, but also for all the other beautiful, amazing women, and maybe if there's men as well, to give their advice or opinion on your situation, because it definitely will help you figure out how to go about it. And it won't be like you're just hearing it from me. So it'll be a confirmation of if you're moving in the right direction or not. Yesterday, we had some really interesting ones, even about a girl who was dealing with a married man. So that was really interesting. We have some interesting ones, very interesting ones. And I want you guys, when you hop in the Discord, you can answer the questions, give your opinion on here too. But if you really feel like you have a detailed answer, please feel free to go on the Discord. You can actually respond to the person kind of like you would on Reddit, and respond as well and give your 2 cents. That's why the Discord is so awesome. Okay. Rose Petal says, what if he keeps calling and texting while you're waiting for the second date? You do not text him back or call him back. Now, don't balance it out. Don't answer every call and text, but also don't not answer any calls or text, okay? Answer some of them, but when you don't answer, just make the excuse that you're busy, you're doing stuff. It's not that you don't want to talk to him. So you can remind him that you're interested in him and you're excited for seeing him, and you're excited to see him and spend time with him, but you're too busy to be answering a whole bunch of calls and texts all throughout this time. That's why you're so excited for the next time you're going to see him. So that's why it's a balance. So it's kind of it's a two answers to the question. You don't answer every call and text, but you also don't not answer all of them. Okay, you want him to still feel like you're excited for the next time you're going to see him. You just don't want it to be like you're speaking to him all the time. Okay. Angela says, how long does this process take usually? I mean, it all depends on how much quality real time you're spending with each other. You know, two people who are dating could be seeing each other 3 times a week for 3-4 months. And some people who are dating each other could be seeing each other once every 2 weeks, right? So that kind of depends on how much quality time you're spending with each other. This is why I give you guys this advice, that you can know what you're looking for and know what kind of questions you're going to be asking. Give him the opportunity for him to show you all the different ways and situations that he's in, all the different moods he'll have. Experience him in a bunch of different ways and situations, not just when it's good and happy and fun, before you make the decision on whether or not you're going to give your Squirtle away. Really have a whole understanding of, if you don't feel like you have enough of a good understanding that you really could spend the rest of your life with this person, and you don't know them well enough to make that a decision, then you shouldn't even be hopping into giving your Squirtle away, because what's the point, right? What's the point then? If you're giving your Squirtle away to guys that you're not expecting to build a relationship with for real, then you're just wasting your time as a woman. I mean, unless you're just looking for the friends with benefits, right? If a guy pays you to date him, should I even take him seriously? He's paying you to date him. That sounds like something other than a relationship. That's definitely something if he's paying you to date him. I just don't think that I would call that a relationship. Perfectly fine if that's what you are doing, but I don't think that's a relationship if he's paying you to date him. That's actually classified as something else. Okay. And I'll leave it up to you to figure out what that's called. If you guys have questions or a situation, you have to go and ask it on the Discord. So for those of you who are on TikTok, you go to the link in my bio on TikTok and you describe your situation. This is how I sift out those of you who have a serious question. For those of you who just have a silly question, oh, how can I get him to text me back in 3 seconds? You'll look like an idiot if you ask that type of question in the Discord, right? So this is my way of sifting out people who have real situations versus people who are just swiping by, not really invested in what we're having going on here, and just want to get a quick question answered, and they're never going to come back again. Okay. So that's my reasoning for doing that. And it's a much better experience for everyone because we all get to learn from the situation. Okay. I see a lot of you guys want me to hop in the Discord. I'm assuming there's tons of questions in the Discord. So let's hop over to the Discord. I know you guys are excited. You're shivering for the Discord. Now, I want to make it very clear when we hop into the Discord, I want everyone to continue participating. If you have an opinion or thought about something that's going on in the Discord, don't just wait for me to answer as if I know everything. Like, you have an opinion too. I want you to give your opinion too. And your 2 cents, because your 2 cents will be very good because I'm just a guy, right? So you giving your opinion on what you think and what you think the best course of action is also helpful because it's all women asking in the Discord. We got a ton of questions in the Discord today. By the way, just a word of advice, please be censoring what you say in the Discord. Yesterday, we had someone say some words that I can't put on screen if we're on, public platforms like this. And it's very important that you guys censor that. Okay, so we're going to hop into the Discord here. And we're going to have some fun today. So first we have Keys. Keys asks a question. Sappy says, I love this part. This is your favorite part? That's awesome. That's awesome. So Keys asks a question. Keys says, honestly, I've tried to, I'm tired. Sorry, let me read the beginning first. I had a brain fart. College crush and Ayo answer me for the next live. Been waiting. Okay, Keys, I hope you're here now. Okay. Honestly, I'm tired and numb when it comes to relationships, but this guy made me have that butterfly feeling again when I'm around. We all know that feeling, how that feeling is. It's a scary one. I met him in college. He's my classmate. I told him I like him, and he said he's feeling me too. Did that little thing I always do to see what their intentions are. He told me that he just wants to vibe, honestly. He's an international student. He doesn't have money like that. Well, if he's an international student, that's kind of contradictory because international students literally have to have money in order to go to school internationally. But okay. So I didn't expect him to want to be in a relationship right away. But just vibe is giving friends with benefits, and I do not do that. That's one of my boundaries. But I feel like he's slowly starting to have feelings for me because we see each other almost every day. And he helped me with my homework. But at the same time, let me just make sure I can get this on screen for you guys on. Oops. There we go. Sorry. At the same time, I lost my place. At the same, where was I? Friends with benefits. At the same time, he just wants to sleep with me. Now we're going to be in different classes, and I've known him for almost 3 months now. Realistically, I just want him to like me, for me, and I just want your advice. People are telling me that barely talking to him is going to make him be more attached and like me, but literally he himself has told me that the reason why he cuffed his ex-girlfriend was because the kitty was too good, and that mostly girls that he mostly gets girls attached to people. He mostly gets girls attached more when he sleeps with them. Red flag, I know, but at the same time, he's a Caribbean, and Caribbean men are horn dogs. Okay. I hope you guys I didn't get to see what you guys were saying, but I hope you guys have been participating and giving your opinion as well, so that Keys can see not just my opinion, but yours as well. What I would honestly say to you, Keys, is that in your situation, I truly think that you're playing yourself. I was thinking about how to say it nicely, but you're playing yourself. You're playing yourself because you are trying to convince a guy to like you. And that's never going to work out well for you, because when you're convincing a guy to like you, even if he ends up in a relationship with you, he's only going to resent the fact that you convinced him to like you, and that wasn't how he genuinely felt towards you in the relationship. Men aren't going to feel like men, like masculine men, when they're not doing the pursuing and the chasing. I know when you guys hear chase, some of you guys think of like a desperate guy who's desperate for your attention, but the chase is also just the pursuit of like, hey, I like you. I want to be with you. I want to court you. I want to show you that I can be the man that you need me to be. I can be the man, right? Like, that's a process that makes guys feel good, that makes guys feel manly, and makes them feel masculine. When you take that away from them by doing the chasing, because make no mistake about it, you're chasing him with all this stuff that you're doing. You're basically saying, he's starting to like me after a while of us spending time together, and, I'm just around, and hopefully I'll change his mind and stuff. You're chasing him. You're courting him. Okay? And all this time you spend courting and chasing after him is literally a waste of your time, because even if he does fake a relationship with you so that he can sleep with you, because make no mistake about it, guys like this are smart enough to realize that if he can fake that he's being more interested in you and he likes you more, you're so desperate for him to like you that you'll open your legs to him. When you open your legs to him, he'll be like, yeah, I thought I was feeling like being in a relationship, but now I realize I'm actually not feeling like being in a relationship. But now we've already slept together, so you've already wasted the body. But yeah, I just thought I'd let you know that, right? That guys love to do that. So I say that to say, do not waste your own time by trying to convince a guy to like you. It needs to be the other way around. It needs to be him trying to grow on you, that you actually start liking him back. You ain't going to be in control, not a little bit, if you're in a situation where you're trying to convince this guy to be interested in you. Absolute waste of your time. So that's my advice to you. Stop wasting your time and truthfully just move on, because unless he's actively seeking you out to talk to you and be in a relationship with you and build a relationship with you, it really just sounds like the only reason you guys even have an ongoing relationship or friendship, whatever you want to call it, is because of how much time you're investing in him. And if you stopped investing that time, then there would be no more relationship. Okay, let's head over to the next one. That was a good question though, Keys. We have, thank you. Okay, this is a response to the one that we did yesterday. So I will kind of reread over that only because we kind of already did that one yesterday. So I want to give, I know there's a lot of questions, not that I don't want to answer your question, Anna. I just want to also give all the other questions in here. You see, we have a lot to get to, okay? So I want to get to some people who didn't get a chance to get their question answered. Okay, so this is Style and Beauty. I think Style and Beauty is from the YouTube. Oh, no, we did Style and Beauties yesterday. This is Style and Beauty from yesterday. Yeah, this is from yesterday. Sorry, oops. Messed up, guys. That's Style and Beauty from yesterday. Style and Beauties was crazy. You better go to yesterday if you want to know about Style and Beauties. Okay, how to deal with vengeful men. This is from Kikorino. I'm probably not even pronouncing that with the right accent. So Kikorino says, Hi all. I would love to have any advice on my situation. I've been seeing a guy for about 2 months and feel off. I begin to notice he doesn't really ask me questions unless I ask one first. And that he started initiating conversations with reels of things he has, like, you mean Instagram reels? Like reels of things he has done, showing off to me. He was consistent until we had a date last week and I asked some more emotional questions and he was a bit cagey. I asked how long he had been single and he said a few years, but he wasn't ready for something serious. Okay. He said he was on and off the apps. I'm assuming you mean like the dating apps. And basically described the dopamine cycle. I followed up with are you ready for one at this time? And he said, I hope so, maybe. This made me uncomfortable and led to me to prioritize another date with the guy that had been more intentional. Okay. Our last date was at his place. No sex, no pineapples, but I did forget a bracelet my mother gave me at his place. He reminded me that I had forgotten them, but once he caught wind that I went on another date, he has since stopped responding to my texts, and I've just been trying to arrange to have the bracelet back. I'm considering going to his place to get it back and let him know that it's over. Is this a good idea? Also, he has been giving me cold signals, so why is he so hurt over me going on another date? Well, so this is a great question, Kikorino. I will say to that, to be honest with you, obviously, yeah, he's mad that you're going out on another date with another guy. Now, is he necessarily justified in being mad when he knows he was being pretty unintentional? Not necessarily. Did you do something wrong by, focusing your attention on another guy, knowing that this guy was being unintentional? Honestly, you didn't. Like, you're a single woman. And if you identify that this guy's not doing what you need him to be doing, then you have every right to go on and spend your focus and attention on a guy who's actually going to be intentional in the relationship. You have every right to do that. So you're not wrong for that. Now, leaving your bracelet at his place was a mistake. I always advise you guys to never, not always, but I don't advise you guys to ever do anything that ties you to the person or ever have, hold anything hostage to force someone to talk to you or speak to you, because it's never going to end up good for you. But I know this was obviously a mistake. I would say, I don't know him, so I don't know how that would go with him to just show up and be like, yo, it's over. I want my bracelet back. You might, as unfortunate as it sounds, you might just have to take the L, because guys like this, I think someone said it earlier in the TikTok chat, once their ego's bruised and he has something of yours, part of you hurting him, he's not going to want to do something for you that, oh, you left your bracelet, so he's going to return it to you. And it seems like he's just in that state where he's like, F you. You're going to go out and talk to another guy. You ain't get no bracelet back from me. I know it sucks, but a man with a bruised ego is a dangerous man. And I don't think that there's really any, if he stopped responding to you, even when you're asking for the bracelet, then I don't think that there's anything at that point you can say or do that's going to convince him that he should give back the bracelet. I mean, the most hope you have is to spam him until he finally gets so annoyed that he returns back to your bracelet or he gives it back. But like at the end of the day, like if the bracelet isn't life-changing to you, then you're probably just going to have to take the L. I know your mother gave it to you, right? But you might just have to take that L on the bracelet, because I think once a man has a bruised ego like this, especially when it comes to losing their girl to someone else, to another man, scorned guys will do some weird stuff, and you don't really even know this guy, so you don't know how he might be once you show up, asking for stuff when he's already upset at the situation. Rose Petal said, go to a girl and get your stuff back. I mean, some people might be of the understanding that, hey, go and get your stuff back. Hey, you got to demand your stuff back. But at the end of the day, you have to understand, like, you don't want to put yourself in an unnecessary, either dangerous or just situation where things happen that could be avoided, especially when it's over a bracelet. You know what I mean? Like, just keep that in mind. You'll be surprised. I've been in enough weird and strange situations that escalated out of nothing that I know a situation like this can easily escalate into something that you never even imagined. And you'll be like, when you look back, you'll be like, all of that happened over a bracelet. You know what I mean? So sometimes I've realized this too in my own life. Sometimes you just got to take the L, especially when you're dating people. You don't really know these people. You don't really know what they're about. Sometimes you just got to take the L. Okay. Okay. So that's my advice to you. Let's see here. User just says, is it possible to fall in love? This is a really vague general question. Not that I don't want to answer it, but like, this is part of the reason why I have you guys come onto the Discord and ask your question, because if you really have a real situation that you want answered, like, I want you to put a detailed situation on here that has nuance to it. I don't just want you guys to ask very basic questions that, are very open-ended. Is it possible to fall in love? I can't really give you a detailed answer. I mean, yeah, it's possible. What else am I supposed to say to that? That's why I want you guys to give me a real detailed situation, because how am I supposed to answer that with a whole detailed answer? Is the question is a yes or no answer? Is it possible to how do I make them fall in love? I mean, there's many things you can do. I wouldn't advise you to try and make a player fall in love, because you're wasting your time. If he's a player, why are you trying to make him fall in love with you? It's kind of a waste of your time. You can make a guy fall in love with you, though. That's possible. I've made a video about that, so watch that one. Gab says, this is how you structure the question. You see this? A nice, thick, meaty situation, right? Pause. No diddy. This is how you do it, okay? Gabrielle says, how to take my power back. Hi, Thompson. I could really use your help in the following situation. I had a friends with benefits connection with a guy for over 4 years now. I was young and stupid to agree to a friends with benefits, very well knowing I had feelings for him. We've been on and off for these 4 years. In between, I would keep myself own and date other guys. I think you just mean like free. And when these don't work out, I always went back to him. Recently, our dynamic has gotten really toxic where his actions really hurt me, and I lash out at him and say mean things. Hold on, let me pull this up here for you guys. Oops. And say mean things. Let me find a place here. Mean things you say. Where was I? Power back. You told me that. Oh, this is gonna be funny. Where I lash out and I say at him and say mean things to take my power back, and we both end up leave feeling hurt. He always told me that he doesn't have feelings for me, but for fun, he loves me, and even asked me to be his girlfriend. Okay. I just feel like such a clown for loving someone who treats me horribly and doesn't love me back. He told me my recent words have really hurt him and remembers all the toxicity between us from years, which he thinks about predominantly to overlook all the good times. He said he wants me to come back to him after all this time because it's not helping us since we both decided a relationship is not going to work out. Let me move this up. Where was I? 4 years. I guess it's hard for me to not talk to him anymore since we've been in touch for 4 years. I feel bad that I won't have a safe house to come to when I know when things don't work out with other guys. I also feel like the thought of him acting right and actually respecting a new girl that he will put in the wifey category sickens me because I sacrificed so much for him, and now another girl will get his love and the best treatment while I just be a girl for a good time. I would really appreciate it if you could give me some suggestions on how to take my power back and end things with him in a way where he respects me. Please give me some mindset ideas so I won't go back to him when things don't work out with other guys. How do I get past thinking, wow, I will never be able to see this person? I also noticed that when I'm with the new guy that I really like them and I'm not thinking about this old guy. We also follow each other on IG. Okay, my honest advice to you in this situation, this is I love this detailed question, Gabrielle. My honest advice to you, truly, you have to understand what your goal is. Your goal right now is to get over this situation because he's made it clear to you that it's not going to work out. Don't worry about, I know I've made videos about how to get a guy to regret losing you, but honestly, in your situation, you putting your time and attention and concentration on how to take your power back while still leaving makes no sense. And it's a waste of your time because you're not gaining anything from that. And it doesn't help your end goal, which is trying to get over and through the situation. Because like you said, when you're not with him, when you're with a new guy, you're not thinking about this old guy. So he must not be that important if you stop thinking about him the moment you spend time with the new guy. What's probably happening is you have attention deficit disorder, not that type. You have attention deficit disorder in the sense that you love the attention that guys will give you, and you know that you can always run back to this guy for some love and attention. And now that he has told you he's done giving you that validation, love, and attention, you're confuzzled and you're discombobulated. And now you're like, what do I do? Which is probably the reason why as soon as you see a new guy or meet a new guy, you don't feel like you're missing the old guy, because it's not really about him. It's really about the attention that you're getting from these guys, which is why you liked that guy, because you were getting so much attention from him. Now, in your situation, for what you're trying to accomplish, because he's made it clear to you that you guys aren't building no long-term serious relationship. So now he's told you, if you spend any more time invested in him, you're wasting your time. So you need to be wasting as little of the rest of your time as you possibly can. All you need to be focused on is how to not text him back, not call him, not think about him anymore, that you can actually move forward with your life and build a relationship with someone who's truly invested in you and will treat you how you say this guy's going to be eventually treating a new girl, and that it sickens you. So the way that you do that is you got to unfollow him on Instagram. You don't have to block him, unfollow him, okay? Because you don't need to be seeing anything that he's doing. And if he's private, even better. You won't even get an opportunity to. You don't even want to get into the habit of checking stories and, seeing if he's posted something. Don't. It's a waste of your time. Okay? If my advice to you, delete his number. There's nothing happening in that relationship anymore. It's dead. So if the relationship's dead, don't focus your time and energy on it. Move forward with your life. So unfollow on Instagram. Delete his number out of your phone. And I really mean delete his number. Don't just, delete the text thread. Delete the number so that you're not even tempted to call it back. And even if you wanted to call it back or text it, you don't know the number. Delete it. The second thing I would do, get rid of any clothes or clothing items, hats, sweaters, t-shirts, pants, underwear. That'd be weird if you had his underwear. That is staying at your house. Put it in the trash and throw it away. because all of that stuff, when you wear it or when you smell it, is going to remind you of the guy, is going to make it harder for you to not text him or call him, or text him back or call him back if he does happen to text you or call you back. My third piece of advice: delete all pictures and videos you have of that person on your phone. Okay? Get rid of them. If they're so sentimental to you that you just can't possibly fathom not ever having them, cool. Put them on your computer so they're not readily available to you all the time. The reason I say this, and the reason I say all this stuff that sounds really harsh, that person literally has to be unalived to you. If they're not, then you won't properly be able to come to resolve in your mind and get over the situation. And for you, your end goal is trying to get over the situation because clearly it has run its course. It's been toxic. You guys have hurt each other, and it's obviously not going anywhere. Okay. So everything else all the other time that you spend invested in this, the longer you spend invested in this, the more time you are wasting. Delete everything. Get rid of all the clothes, unfollow him, delete his number, delete the pictures off of your phone so you're not tempted to look at them and go back and reminisce on them and cry. Delete the Snap memories. If you're a Snapchatter and you keep Snap memories, delete those too. Get everything about him off of your phone, because you're with your phone every day. You don't want to fall into the vicious cycle of being on your phone and being reminded of him. Get rid of it so that you can actually get over the situation and focus your energy and time on growing another real relationship. Okay. And all the women are saying it as well. It's not just me. They're saying delete everything. Delete it. Okay. That's my advice to you. We're going to do, let's see, keys. We just did keys. We just did we not? We just did keys. Oh, so I think someone answered keys. Yeah, we just did keys. So we're going to do Maria. So Maria says, thank you, Maria, for structuring your question properly. Maria says, I'm a 23-year-old female and I have a work crush who's a 24-year-old male. Initially, he messaged me at work a few months ago and it seemed like he was interested in me. We were in different teams at this point. Okay. I started speaking to him in person when I was at the office and the conversation was great. Then a couple of times I went to see him at work and he seemed so stressed. Let me move this up for you guys on YouTube. And he seemed so stressed, so I left him alone for a few weeks because I felt like I was bothering him. Then I started talking to him again and he seemed like he was really happy to speak to me. On those days we speak at work, it feels amazing, but some days we don't talk. And I'm always wondering when we'll speak again. Sometimes it can be hot and cold, which drains me. We're in the same team currently, so we're always around each other. So maybe it's it's intense always being around each other. He asks questions about me and initiates conversations a lot of the time. And I also ask about him too. I also got him his favorite snack one day and he liked that. I like him and I think he likes me, but the hot and cold behavior is stressful for me. I wonder if it's because we work together. That's why he hasn't pursued me properly. He started working from home recently and stopped coming into the office. I messaged him and he's entertaining the conversation. I'm wondering if I should come clean about my feelings for him, but I'm scared I'm not good at expressing my feelings out loud. What should I do? I'm also planning to get a new job, so the work element won't be a barrier soon. Okay, I'm glad you said that last part, because I was going to say, to be honest with you, just avoid trying to be in a relationship with someone you work with, simply because if the relationship doesn't work out, you're still going to have to work with that person. And that can be very frustrating and awkward for both of you. But since you're working a new job, I would, if you honestly feel like he's entertaining this and he's interested in you as well, okay? Because I'm not there, so I can only go by what you say you're feeling. If you truly feel that, my advice to you is keep whatever you guys have going and only address the fact that you are interested in him after you leave this job, okay? Don't do this at work. Don't make it awkward for both of you at work. Also, because the thing I had to mention is part of the reason he's hesitant. I obviously don't know him. I'm not there. I don't know what you guys are experiencing. But part of the reason he might be hesitant, if he actually does like you, is the fact that you guys work together, and now even you guys work together on the same team. So you have to understand, for guys, it's different, especially in today's work culture. You can't just be assuming that the girl that you work with likes you and start asking her on dates, and start saying stuff that might be deemed as inappropriate. You'll very quickly get reported to HR. Okay, so guys have to be very careful in today's day and age on, I can't just assume a girl likes me because she's batting her eyes at me and checking me out, right? So guys have to be very careful when it comes to work etiquette. And so just keep that in mind. That could be part of the reason he's tiptoeing around the situation. Now, if you're saying that you're feeling that interest back, okay, I'm not going to say that's invalid, but keep that in mind as part of the reason why he could be holding back, which is why I say save everything that you're feeling or wanting to say until after you leave this job. That way, it's not a barrier in your relationship. And then allow him. My honest advice is, rather than coming clean and saying, oh, I like you and this and that, when you leave the job, right, give him some time and see if he reaches out to you and wants to get to know you or speak to you or talk to you. If he does, then there's some genuine interest there, because obviously he's keeping up with you after you leave your job. So clearly he wants to see what's up with you. You also know, if you leave the job and he doesn't seem to care too much to keep up with you, then he probably wasn't that interested in you in the first place. And like I say, you have to allow these guys the space to show you that they're interested in you. Okay. You can't really convince them to do that. So I know, being a guy and being in a corporate structure, a barrier could be the fact that you guys work together and are on the same team. After you leave the job, stop texting him, don't do so much reaching out. If you see that he never reaches out to you, then that's your answer. If he reaches out to you and he's like, hey, what's up? I see you got your new job and I'm wondering how you've been. I'm wondering how you feeling now and this and that. Then he actually had genuine interest in you, which is why he's trying to keep up with you. Okay. Does that make sense? All right. So that, M said, don't chase him though. I agree. Don't chase him. You don't want to get into the habit of trying to convince him that, you guys are in a, relationship. Okay. Let's see here. I think we're going to do that. That's it for today. We'll do some more tomorrow. Kathleen says, please read my update. Okay, don't worry. Tomorrow we'll do your update. We've done a bunch today and I want to save some for tomorrow. Okay, so we'll do your update tomorrow. All right. So that's going to be the show for today. For those of you guys who enjoyed the show, I hope you enjoyed the show. If you have a question and you want your situation to be answered like I answered all those other people's situation, if you're on TikTok, you go to the link in my bio and you go to the link in the bio, you join the Discord, open it in browser, and you should have no problem joining the Discord. And then if you're on YouTube, just go down into the description. All the way at the bottom, you'll see the link to my Discord there. You join the Discord and it'll be very easy and straightforward for you. For those of you who just want to follow me on Instagram and see everything that I'm doing all the time, you can do that and follow me on Instagram. And for those of you who are on TikTok watching me and you want to get access to the live stream after I finish it, and maybe you miss some parts and you want to see everything that we discussed today, you can head over to YouTube and you'll be able to go to the live section and see this live in its entirety with the live stream chat, with the YouTube chat and the TikTok chat embedded there for you. So you won't miss any of the context. You'll see what everyone's talking about. It's such an awesome experience on YouTube. You get to have so much more context and see everything that's going on. So aside from that, I'll be here for you guys tomorrow. Tomorrow's obviously Friday. Friday will be a great show. We're going to have a great conversation tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern time exactly. So make sure you tune in at 4 p.m. Eastern time when we're going to be discussing, it's a surprise, I won't tell you yet. We're going to be discussing a lot of good stuff. Okay, I'll see you guys tomorrow for Peter, sharp and ready to go. And until then, you go and watch every single one of my videos on YouTube and TikTok until you're blue in the face and your eyeballs bleed. All right. Until then, I will see you